Yo, 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 what's up, all you burner stoners and potheads? This is Weedman 420 with the Weedman 420 Chronicles. How are all you vipers doing, Mrs. Weedman?
Mr. Weedman.
How the hell are you?
I'm doing great.
Doing
How
great?
Are you?
I'm doing awesome. You want to know why?
Why?
Because we're about to get normal. Hey, all you vipers out there, hopefully you're smoking some big fat doinks while you listen to the show. And Mrs. Weedman and I are about to get normal. We are smoking a strain that I have no name. But I will tell you a little story. Mrs. Weedman and I do Brunch of Stoners every other month. It's a phenomenal event that we get to do, and we get to meet some phenomenal people. And there's a home grower there, a volunteer. His name is Scott. Gave me a bunch of nugs to let people try while I was rolling joints at Brunch of Stoners, and I took a couple nugs, and I told him I was smoking on the show. Asked him the name. He told me the name, but of course I was very stoned that day. Totally forgot the name, and asked him to send me a DM, and he forgot too. So all I know is this is a very, very, very fun strain, meaning like it had a great smell, great bud appeal, and phenomenal. Like, my hands were so sticky. So sticky. So we smoked a lot of it at the last Brunch of Stoners we did, and I'm looking forward to trying it now because I've had it in a nice jar with some Boveda bags, so it's been kept nice because I wanted to smoke it on the show. But we've had so many different strains from people, we finally get a chance to smoke it. So, Scott, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And hopefully I'll see you at the next Brunch of Stoners. I want to thank you and share this delicious strain with everybody.
It's tasty.
Yeah, Mrs. Weedman, we had a great weekend.
We did. It was Labor Day weekend.
Labor Day, absolutely gorgeous.
Beautiful weather in Chicagoland.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. You could not have asked for, even today. Today's Tuesday, 9/3/2024, and today's weather was gorgeous too. I mean, it has just been absolutely. My grass hates life right now because there's no rain, but this weather is unbelievable.
It's what you just dream of. You know, that cool, dry, warm sun, perfectly blue sky. If there's a cloud, it doesn't stick around. Just gorgeous. Open your windows.
Oh, we've had the air off all weekend.
I call it productive weather.
Yes. No air is so nice. I love fresh air. It's been great. Pollen count is high, I know, right now. That ragweed, so be careful if you got some allergies out there right now.
I got the sniffles today.
Yeah, me too. A little nose dribbly. Scott,
pretty good.
Phenomenal,
it's tasty.
brother. Oh, yeah. Very nice. If you're tasting it, I know it's good. So, phenomenal weekend. But before we get talking about what we're doing, we want to talk about, check out 8decades.com. For all your cannabis needs, clothing, smoke set, jars, the jars. If you have not bought one of these 8 Decades jars, you are missing out. Phenomenal. 8 Decades jars, Weedman clothing, 8 Decades clothing, steamrollers, grinders, whatever you need, we got you. Check it out at 8decades.com. This is Weedman's baby. New low pricing too. Check it out, 8decades.com. Also, this Saturday, September 7th, from 12 p.m. to 7 p.m., we will be at the Illinois Craft Showcase, hosted by Illinois News Joint, and it is being held at Molly's Joint in Tilton, Illinois, at Parkway Dispensary, Molly's Smoke Lounge, and Molly's Joint, and in their beer garden. It's in Tilton, Illinois, on the border of Indiana. Go check it out. We will be there, along with a lot of cool folks.
Yeah, I just got an email update on it today, just giving everybody logistics for the day. And there is a really, really nice group of participants. They're like all of the craft cannabis from Illinois. Got some solid vendors. There's going to be food truck. It's going to be a really nice event. It's about a 2-hour drive from Chicago. If you live in Champaign, it's in your backyard.
45 minutes.
If you're in St. Louis, even, you could drive up. It's probably just a couple-hour drive.
Yeah.
So even come on over from Indiana.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Indiana folks, come check us out.
It's going to be, I think it's going to be a really great event. And again, we're supposed to have some great weather. I think we're supposed to get some rain later in the week. So hopefully that comes and goes. And
it's supposed to be 65 and sunny on Saturday. Ugh. Gosh.
Mr. Weedman still thinks the weatherman is right about 5 days in advance. I said, just wait, because Wednesday's weather will be Saturday's weather.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see.
I think it's going to be gorgeous outside.
I think so.
I'm super excited and super stoked about it. So, but also, I'm excited about seeing everybody there. We get to see all of our friends and people we know we've met in the industry over the last 5 years. And then also, too, Mrs. Weedman will be with the table, and I'll be with the little side table. Come by. And I'll roll you a joint. Got some new strains. Can be a lot of fun. Got a sponsor for the table too, a weed sponsor. You'll find out when you get there. And then I'm super stoked. So I love when I get some of the growers around to give me some weed so that people can enjoy other weed besides mine and Big Earl's, of course. Excuse me, everybody. Mrs. Weedman and I had some tacos tonight. So
They're talking back.
yeah, talking back tacos. So, but yeah, phenomenal weekend though. It was absolutely gorgeous. We went to the beach on Saturday, and we have a water dog. And if you don't understand what a water dog is, check out some of the videos we post on our Instagram because Yuki is a water dog. That dog, I had to stop throwing the ball and buy something different. I bought this buoy that's on a string that I can throw underhand.
Yeah, we've talked about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I probably threw that buoy about 100 times. And we were there for like 5 hours. We got there at 2 and we left at 7. And we like going to the beach a little later because we like watching the sun go down a little bit. So it's always nice, especially when you're looking at from Lake Michigan over where we go over by the Indiana beach over there, Miller's Beach. And you could see Chicago clear as day because it was so nice out. So it's just a great view. But it was very, very nice out. And just watching a water dog be so happy and free in the water is amazing. So if you have a water dog out there, it's great. And what did we do on Sunday? Sunday was a lot of fun, too.
Well, Sunday, we went down to see the kids for the day in the city. The last multiple visits, they've come out to our house. And we have always been very city active people, but in the last few months, we've just been so busy with events that outside of events, we haven't really gotten downtown much. So no. We went north. We went to the kids' neighborhoods, and we went to an outdoor free concert. Our daughter follows this group, and it's a collective, like a DJ collective, and they put on these free concerts within Humboldt Park. And there's a little hill, and the DJ sets up at the bottom of the hill. Behind him is a beautiful pond, and people riding their bikes by and walking, and strollers and kids. It's very cool. So we were sitting up on this beautiful hill with trees, but it was such a beautiful day. We sat in the sun, and it was just gorgeous. And listened to all sorts of music. It was trance, it was EDM, it was just all sorts of electronic music.
House. Yeah,
there was
great.
There was, of course, a food truck. We had packed some treats and things. And
made a great mocktail.
Yeah, I made a mocktail. The bees really liked it.
Yes. Yeah, be careful.
So,
it's that time of the year right now, too. The hornets are out.
Yeah, so it was kind of a one and done because everybody was...
Those aren't bees, by the way.
Those are hornets.
Those are hornets.
Yes.
Yellow
and they
jackets.
wanted to sting me.
They want that sugar.
Yeah. So it was a drink your drink and let's move on kind of thing. But it was just so nice to hang out, and nobody was really in a big hurry.
No.
So we just got to chill out and enjoy the weather and catch up on conversation and what's going on in everyone's lives. And
of course, the kids made fun of us going, see, it's not so bad up here.
I know. We're like, what are you talking about? We do come up.
We do come up
yeah,
here. And two, it's not always easy to get up there. I
just
love
time.
the city. I love the north side. I love the south side. I love the north side. I love downtown. I love everything about Chicago. It's an amazing city. It just sucks taking your Saturday to drive.
Our traffic has gotten intense.
Gosh.
Well, and we've had really busy weekends.
Yes.
And so that is...
But what deters me a lot to go to the north side
is traffic.
I said this on the last show. Traffic and lines are the two most... I hate them the most. And just wasting an hour and just sitting in traffic just annoys the shit out of me. And we try everything to get there. Side streets, this street, that street. It no matter what, it's an hour and 15 minutes.
To go like 15 miles,
Yeah.
16 miles.
17 miles. It should take 25 minutes. That's what annoys me as I've gotten older. I've spent more time in traffic and lines in my whole entire life than I wish I had that time.
Oh, they've just gotten so much more.
Yes. I wish I had that time back. I look at all that time spent driving in traffic. So that's the reason why I bust their chops. I'm like, come down here and see us. We got a yard.
At least we don't have to ride in buggies with horses and take like 5 months to get to Florida. It could be worse.
It could be worse. It's true. It could be worse. But, I love going downtown. There's always such good events. There was so much going on in the city this weekend, too. You had Pearl Jam playing at Wrigleyville. You had Arc Fest. You had North Coast, which is in Bridgeview, but right outside Chicago, 10 minutes outside Chicago. You had... many little festivals, street festivals going on in Chicago.
Baseball games.
Even though the Sox suck right now. But, there was like 30 people at the stadium when we drove past there.
Yeah, it was
Sorry,
pretty empty.
Sox fans. But, just there was street festivals and just the city was alive Labor Day weekend. Because everybody knows this is the last big holiday weekend. The next big one will be Thanksgiving. You have now Halloween, of course, but you don't get a day off like a 3 or 4 day weekend like we do at Labor Day and Thanksgiving. So this is a big weekend. I mean, just people are. I mean, it was firework display. I mean, we had fireworks going on like crazy. It was just but you could tell what I noticed about the city this weekend, as much as it was going on, where we were at on Sunday, it was very peaceful.
Oh, it was very peaceful.
Very peaceful. People dancing, all walks of life. People dancing, having a good time, talking and good, because the music wasn't blaring, like it wasn't banging. You know, we weren't at a rager. We were at people smoking weed, people smoking vapes, whatever, but smoking weed and just hanging out. And it was just people not smoking weed, and there was people picnicking and people like just enjoying some drinks and having little tables set up and little tents set up and just little circles, and you can hear people talk, and you know, people knew each other from around the neighborhood and stuff. So it was just, but it was very, very, there was no protest going on, no nothing, the convention
no
wasn't
arguments,
in town,
no weird annoying person in the crowd. It was just like,
it was so
everything was really
Nobody
nice.
was drunk and acting the fool. It was just very, very peaceful, and that's what I wanted to. That's what I loved and enjoyed about it. Music was great, people were great, but it was peaceful. I was baked at one point. You got a picture of me.
You were slumped in the chair.
I was like sinking, melting in the chair. And because I took an edible before we left too. So, you know, we got there and we smoked a joint like an hour later, and the edible had just kicked in too. And I was like, meh, you know, but it was just so peaceful and relaxing. We stayed there for a good like 3 hours, right? Yeah. It was great. Always spending time with the kids and their significant others. And just having a nice, peaceful, relaxing day, having great conversation while listening to enjoyable music. It was very nice. And then what did we do Monday?
Nothing. Pajamas. I woke up in them and I went to bed in them.
And we smoked a lot of weed.
Smoked a lot of weed.
I worked on the show Monday night, but I mean,
sat in the backyard with the dog all day.
Oh my God, that breeze was amazing.
Oh, she just heard me say that. She's like, "We're going in the backyard." Are we? Okay.
She was sleeping on the couch. Sorry, Yuki.
You can go back. It was just a dream. I don't think she knows what she's even doing.
No, she was out cold. But yeah, we had hopefully everybody out there got a chance to enjoy themselves, refresh and reset. Fall's coming. A lot of people's. I saw more posts this weekend about Halloween than I've seen in the last few weeks. I'm like, relax, peeps, relax.
It's September.
We're still 2 months away.
Relax.
We're still 60 days away. We don't. I mean, you're already seeing the big giant skeletons in Home Depot and shit. People are posting, going, I'm getting one this year. I'm like, it's too early. It's just like Christmas. Like I saw someone posted a picture in Home Depot. I think they were out in California, posting pictures of Halloween decorations, but there was Christmas decorations right behind it.
Come on, no.
I'm like, this is fucking September.
God.
It's almost as bad.
What about Thanksgiving?
It's almost as bad as Oktoberfest beers coming out in July.
Ugh.
That's ignoring that's annoying as fuck too. So, but to see now you got Christmas stuff coming out in September.
That's terrible.
Like I understand Christmas and July bullshit. You know, that's fun. That's funny. But just to see that, I'm just like, no, I don't want summer to end yet. And I think I say this. I think
marketing forces us to be in such a rush to get to the next thing.
There it is.
It's like, why can't we just be here now? Why
enjoy right now?
You have decorations from last year. Just chill out. You can buy them later.
Yeah, you got a whole month. Don't start putting your Halloween stuff up to like the last week of September, early October.
Yeah, tell the Halloween people that.
Why do you want
Halloween is one of the biggest gross sale holidays.
2. It's now number 2.
I think it is above Christmas.
Christmas, really?
Yeah, yeah. You don't. It's not religious.
Right.
Anybody could celebrate it, so it's just a universally celebrated holiday.
We'll have to look that up.
Yeah, it is.
It is now.
Oh yeah. Well, you have to think costumes. You're covering a lot of different. Well, I guess Christmas shopping covers a lot of different areas too. But it's candy, it's costumes, it's home decor,
and people now have big parties at their home.
Yes,
you know,
entertaining,
more so going out to bars. More people having parties at their home because the weather's been so nice. Halloween now, you can have parties outside.
Yeah, it doesn't even get cold until the end of September.
Yeah. So, and So I just see the stuff though. It's just like you said, it's just rushed. Everything is so rushed by marketing. It's like I don't even want to see that shit yet.
Right.
Most people in the cannabis industry right now are waiting for Croptober to come along. That's what they're excited about. Croptober, not even Halloween yet.
It should be a law. You can't celebrate or prepare for holidays more than 1 month in advance.
That's a great idea. I think it's amazing.
I mean, everyone has the freedom, you know.
Right.
There's gonna be like black market Halloween sites.
Go to the dark web to get your darkness.
Can you drop me off a skeleton? Please. You got a pumpkin guy? You got a guy with pumpkins?
Pumpkin's fine though.
You got a costume guy?
Okay,
I got a costume guy.
Here's something cool though too, because what people do is they go apple picking now, right? In late September, early October, and they get their pumpkins and they get their hay bales and they put stuff out in their corn stalks and they put everything and their scarecrows and they put that out for the fall season. That I get. And you usually have that all the way out until what? Thanksgiving? Right? And then you take it away because then winter comes. So, and then people add the effects of Halloween. I love the fall decor when it starts coming. You've done a great job over the years. I see people's homes. Then you got the people that keep their Halloween stuff all the way to Christmas. Now I see people taking those skeletons and dressing them up in Santa Claus costumes and keeping them on their lawns like for every holiday. Like
those
4th of
things are
July.
like 30 feet tall.
Those things are fucking crazy. Now they have the eyeballs that light up too, and it's scary as fuck. But I've driven past people's houses, they keep that up all year round and decorate it in a different, like I went from Halloween, then it went Thanksgiving, they put them in a pilgrim outfit. And then I went to Christmas and it was dressed in a Santa Claus like Skellington from what is that movie?
Jack Frost.
Jack Frost, yes. Not Jack Frost. Jack.
A Nightmare Before Time.
No.
Nightmare
Before Christmas. Stoner.
I'm so baked.
So then, thank you, Scott. So then,
what's a Nightmare Before Time?
I have no idea. Maybe
it's just making shit up. I'm a Nightmare Before Time. Wow.
No,
wow.
I didn't say that.
Wow.
I didn't say that.
I
You
know.
said that. And then you have I saw Christmas time. It was dressed as Jack Skellington. And then for 4th of July they put him in the big tall hat with the white beard and made him look like Uncle Sam.
Crazy,
right?
Yeah.
So so it's getting used.
I guess, or they don't have anywhere to put him. He's bigger than any room in the house.
That's a good one. Oh shit. Well, hopefully we see everybody at Molly's Joint and on the 7th, this Saturday. Hopefully we see y'all out there.
Yeah.
Come check us out. It's
gonna be fun.
And, you ready to get the show started?
Let's do it.
Let's do this. Your CBD oil may be failing you. Now, we've talked about the snake oil salesman. We've talked a lot about CBD. But here's why. The modern cannabis market can be overwhelming. Long gone are the days when consumers would simply smoke pot, eat a weed brownie, or have a hit of hash. Now, that sounds like my everyday. That sounds still like my everyday, though, those three right there. Nowadays, there are good cannabis for every type of person, all available in a wide range of formulations. But as it turns out, whole plant products may be the best. Goods that contain cannabis extracts such as CBD oil, edibles, and topicals fall into one of the three categories: full spectrum, broad spectrum, and isolate. Full spectrum products contain all of the compounds that make cannabis what it is: cannabinoids, terpenes, flavonoids, esters, etc., etc. Broad spectrum products are similar to full spectrum products, except that any THC present is removed. Other less potent cannabinoids like CBD, CBG, or CBN are left behind. Isolates take things one step further, seeing all active compounds removed except for a single cannabinoid like CBD. Most people who buy broad spectrum or isolate products often do so because they don't want to consume THC. Perhaps they are subject to a drug test or concerned about psychoactive effects. However, THC may actually be the catalyst for making CBD oil or other cannabis products more effective.
We have said that a lot. Yes.
The case for full spectrum. According to research, the active compounds in cannabis may work better together. The phenom known as the entourage effect suggests that cannabinoids and terpenes have a synergistic relationship. Thanks to the harmonious relationships, full spectrum products are potentially more effective than broad spectrum or isolate products. The entourage effects theories was introduced by famed cannabis researcher Dr. Raphael Michelin in 1998 and explored further by Dr. Ethan Russo in 2011, paper dubbed Taming THC. Russo suggested that the full-spectrum cannabis could improve the therapeutic index of cannabis extracts containing THC or other base phytocannabinoids. Related, though, THC who? These compounds may be the most important part of weed. Russo presented further evidence in 2019 study in which he wrote that the benefits of cannabis are enhanced if all active components are present. Remove THC or other natural compounds, and there's a good chance the product would be less effective.
Like the entourage effect.
Mm-hmm. That's not to say that broad spectrum or isolate products are ineffective. It's simply more likely that full spectrum products offers the most bang for your buck. How to shop for effective CBD. When shopping for cannabis products, make sure to read a label carefully, especially when it comes to hemp. The 2018 Farm Bill states that legal hemp must contain 0.3% THC or less. The minuscule amount of THC is not enough to elicit a buzz in most people, but it may help the CBD or other cannabinoids work better. If THC consumption isn't a concern, seek out products that have the words full spectrum on the label. People who are subject to drug tests or can't tolerate any THC may want something marked broad spectrum. Isolates are often the least desirable, but are not completely ineffective. Just remember the full equates to as close to the plant as you can get. Yes, and we've talked about this before on the show. I just researched an article too. I'll probably talk about it in the next show. It's saying it was saying that CBD may not actually mitigate THC if you take too much. It's just they did actually a good few years on this. So probably talk about that in the next episode. So much more, like I said, as we get more into it, there's so much more research going on that we may or may not know, but that just proves that you need a little THC to do what? Kickstart those other cannabinoids, even if it's 1 gram.
And that's interesting because I stopped into a little herbal store and they hype themselves as being a CBD shop, not a head shop. And they are. I mean, they really aren't a head shop. But they don't just have CBD. They have CBD, and they really have kratom, and they really have non-psychedelic shrooms. So they've got all the mushroom therapies, then they've got a whole shit ton of kratom, and then they have a whole shit ton of CBD and CBD products, different form, flour, tablets, edibles, everything. And I was there and said I wanted full spectrum, and the woman was the budtender. I'll call her a budtender. It's not a dispensary, but similar. She's prescribing. People were coming in while I was there and saying, I have this and that wrong with me. What can I take? I've never done this. One guy came in, truck driver, and what can I do? And she directed him to kratom because she said it won't show up on a test. Not necessarily for his health. I don't know. Anyway. She told me that I was wrong by wanting the full spectrum. And she said the broad spectrum was better. And maybe in retrospect, it was just because her typical client isn't looking for THC, maybe. Right. So
did you ask her why?
No, I didn't.
Be interesting to know her reasoning. Yeah.
She was very knowledgeable. I didn't challenge her. I don't typically challenge people because I don't always know the answers. It's a hard argument to have if you don't have the knowledge either. Right. I am actually asking people because I want to learn. So I took her advice. I was like, oh, okay. But I did not ask why. I guess I should.
Broad spectrum, it didn't say it was bad.
No,
Just take
right.
the full plant, though, because you're going to get more benefits from the full spectrum versus the broad or the isolate.
And they said with the full spectrum, you have a little bit of THC in there. And we've read how many times that it has been studied and shown that having that little bit of THC makes the CBD more,
makes the other
better
cannabinoids
more effective.
Yes. So,
wow, you high?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Scott, thank you.
Thanks.
People are paying higher prices for legal weed, right?
Yeah.
Wait. What?
Yeah, right. Like, who wants to pay more? Who chooses to pay more money, right? Well, in 2014, a groundbreaking commercial so yes, 2014, hit the airwaves, pushing the boundaries of cannabis advertising in a way that was both hilarious and thought-provoking. Working with marijuanadoctors.com, we created a scenario that would resonate with viewers. A shady character selling sushi from inside his coat on a dimly lit street corner. The premise was simple yet effective. Would you buy your sushi from a street dealer? The answer, of course, was the resounding no.
I don't know. If he had some really good tuna.
The parallel, yeah, you went there. The parallel to the cannabis industry was immediately clear. Just as consumers wouldn't risk their health with questionable street sushi, why should they gamble with unregulated cannabis? Fast forward to today, and the landscape of cannabis consumption has dramatically shifted. Cannabis has become a mainstream product, and recent surveys reveal a fascinating trend. When given the choice, most consumers prefer to purchase their cannabis from legal and regulated sources. This preference for legal cannabis isn't just a matter of convenience or quality. It represents a seismic shift in the war against the illegal drug trade. For decades, prohibitionists have employed countless tactics to curb cartel drug selling, from aggressive law enforcement to public awareness campaigns. Yet, ironically, it's legalization that has proven to be the most effective strategy in undermining the illicit market. The implications of this trend are profound. Not only does it validate the argument made by legalization advocates, but it also challenges long-held assumptions about drug policy and consumer behavior. As more regions embrace legal cannabis markets, we're witnessing a real-time experiment in how regulation can address issues that prohibition failed to solve. In this article, we'll delve deeper into the legalization effect, exploring the factors driving consumers toward legal cannabis sources and the broader impact on both the industry and society. From public health concerns to economic implications, the shift toward legal cannabis purchasing is reshaping our understanding of effective drug policy in the 21st century. The recent survey conducted by NUG-MD provides compelling evidence of the legalization effect on cannabis purchasing habits. The findings paint a clear picture of consumer preferences in states with legal cannabis markets. A striking 77% of respondents reported obtaining all or most of their cannabis from licensed retailers. 65% of those surveyed said they get all of their cannabis products through legal outlets. And an additional 12% stated they get most of their cannabis through legal sources. And only 6% respond that they get none of their marijuana from legal stores. These numbers are significant, especially when we consider the potential economic impact. The United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime estimates that the global illicit drug trade generates between $426 billion and $652 billion annually. If we apply the survey's findings to this market, assuming a conservative 77% shift to legal purchases, it could potentially redirect $328 billion to $502 billion from illegal to legal channels. Whew. The implications of such a massive shift are staggering. If this revenue were to be taxed at even a modest rate of 15%, it could generate between $49 and $75 billion in annual tax revenue. These funds could be channeled into public health initiatives, education, infrastructure, or drug prevention and treatment programs, providing substantial societal benefits. What's particularly noteworthy is that even in states like California and New York, where unlicensed stores have proliferated, consumers still show a strong preference for legal outlets. In California, 70% of respondents say they buy all or most of their marijuana from legal stores. Similarly, in New York, 68% reported always or mostly obtaining marijuana from licensed stores. However, the survey also highlighted a challenge in these states. 6% of respondents in both California and New York said they don't know which stores are licensed or unlicensed. This points to a need for better consumer education and more distinct licensing for retail outlets to help consumers make informed choices.
That's why I spread the word of Weedman 420 Chronicles, education.
Yeah. The shift toward legal purchasing has significant implications for youth access to cannabis. Licensed stores have a strong incentive to comply with age restrictions to maintain their licenses. A study by the Washington State Institute for Public Policy found that compliance rates for recreational marijuana retailers in age verification were as high as 92%. This high compliance rate suggests that as more consumers shift to legal sources, it becomes increasingly difficult for underage individuals to obtain cannabis. Moreover, the survey revealed that most respondents were daily cannabis users, suggesting that even frequent consumers prefer legal sources when available. The preference for legal cannabis sources, even in states with thriving unlicensed markets, underscores the potential of regulation to reshape consumer behavior. It suggests that given the choice, most cannabis users would rather support a regulated industry that ensures product safety, quality, and legal compliance. These findings provide strong support for the argument that legalization and regulation, rather than prohibition, may be the most effective tool in combating the illicit drug trade. As we witness the positive outcomes of legal cannabis, it's crucial to step back and ask ourselves a fundamental question. Why do we have drug prohibition in the first place? The truth is, drug prohibition is not based on scientific evidence, but rather on a complex web of historical, political, and cultural factors. And when we examine instances of drug policy reform implemented with careful consideration, we consistently see multiple beneficial outcomes. When implemented thoughtfully and with a proper framework based on scientific evaluation, legalization can be the most effective way to combat drug addiction and abuse. Legalization allows for quality control and safer products, age restriction and regulated access, tax revenue that can fund education and treatment programs, reductions in criminal activity associated with the illicit drug trade, and more open dialogue about drug use and its potential risks. It's time to face the reality that prohibition has failed to achieve its goals. Instead, it has created a host of problems, from overcrowded prisons to dangerous black markets. By contrast, legalization and regulation offer a path forward that respects individual freedom while prioritizing public health and safety. This approach requires us to move past fear-mongering and outdated moral panics. It demands that we base our policies on evidence rather than emotion. It asks us to trust in the general moderation of our fellow citizens, just as we do with alcohol. From cannabis legalization in various states to broader drug policy reforms in countries, we see that treating drugs as a health issue rather than a criminal one leads to better outcomes for individuals and society as a whole. The evidence is clear. Legalization, when done right, works better than prohibition ever did.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Clones versus seeds.
Yeah.
Big Earl and I have talked about this on the Grow Hour, but some veteran cannabis cultivators express renewed interest in seeds over clones. A lot of the cultivation here in Illinois and probably across the country, a lot of people use clones. Easier, quicker, turnaround seed. You know, you got to germinate, take some time. Clone, you can have clones going, thousands upon thousands of clones going at a lot. The thing about clones is, though, now with the the hot latent viroid disease and how easy clones can get affected from certain things if they're not kept right or whatever, versus a seed. And I love growing from seed. I'm terrible at clones, and I've had no good grows with clones, but I've had tremendous grows with seeds. So when Mario Guzman, the creator of Cannabis Genetics, Gelato, and Sunset Sherbet, travels to Europe for events, he looks forward to meeting up with the longtime friends and exchanging seeds. All over our globe, friends come and we share genetics and talk about what we're planting for the following year, Guzman told MJ Biz Daily during a recent phone call. He likens the experience to the seed market that has existed for decades in coffee shops of Amsterdam. They were really the culture of it, the passionate backbone of all seed sales in Europe, Guzman said, of Amsterdam-based growers and seed breeders. Adding that until the medical marijuana market got to toehold in the United States. Legacy growers brought seeds from outside the United States, and that later became the bedrock of today's regulated market. So popping seeds. While demand for product uniformity requires most licensed cultivators to produce marijuana from clones, growers' affinity for sharing genetics through cannabis seeds is alive and well in today's regulated market. I still get excited when I pop a 3-pack of seeds as opposed to a clone, said Justin Sheffield, director of cultivation at B-Leaf Medical in Missouri. B-Leaf operates 3 cultivation facilities in Missouri with tens of thousands of plants in various stages of cultivation at any time. Nonetheless, Sheffield said, we always have a pheno hunt in the works. Check out the Grow Hour, too, if you want to learn about pheno hunting. We've talked about it a lot on that show. And have had some great guests, too, to talk about. Bag Appeal. Reggie Harris, co-founder of Kansas City, Missouri-based cannabis genetics company House of Kush, said of most of his clients are asking for good, hardy plants that aren't difficult to grow. He believes seeds have become more popular in recent years as companies have become more concerned with disease and pest in the regulated U.S. marijuana market, valued at $112 billion. The thought before was that having clones saved time from having to pheno hunt and let the plants grow out. But if you weigh the cost between potential lost crops or the extra time it takes to grow, seeds make sense, Harris said. It may take a little longer to get a new strain to market. However, the risk-reward is worth waiting. There's no question, however, that flower has to look and smell the part to keep customers loyal to your brand, Harris said. With the numbers of choices out there, cultivators are looking for hits. If you consistently deliver them, they'll keep coming back for your genetics. International cannabis market, when it comes to what cultivators should look for when vetting potential partners for cannabis seeds, Eugene Borkviv, head of marketing at International Seed Bank Fastbud, said detailed information about the genetic stability and quality of the seeds should be provided. He also recommended that growers ask for confirmation that seeds are tested for germination rates, renews including references or testimonials from other cultivators. Berkviv told MJ Biz Daily that North American marijuana cultivators have different preferences than their European counterparts. North American growers favor genetics with high THC content for more potent flower, optimized yield, unique terpene profiles that allow marketplace differences. Berkviv said, adding that resistance to disease and pests also have key priorities. European growers' priorities are a little different. They must remain compliant with stringent THC limits and local regulations. So we see a higher demand for limited THC strains as well as strains with specific medicinal properties. The Vault at MJ BizCom. Voice of the Plant is bringing best-in-class genetics from Europe and the United States for the first-of-its-kind collaboration with MJ BizCon, taking place on December 3rd to the 6th in Las Vegas. The community coming together is the most important part, Guzman said, in pushing the culture forward. To accomplish that, Voice of the Planet is curating the Vault at MJ BizCon, a section of the trade show floor where seed breeders hand-selected by VOP will offer cash and carry genetics for the first time at the world's largest cannabis business conference and trade show. True genetics aren't just botanists. They really are artistes, Dyke said. Winning cannabis genetics. For Guzman and Dyke, comparing how genetics perform with other cultivators in the circle is part of the experience they seek to replicate through the Vault. Everyone involved in the Vault, we're going to open up the best of our genetic libraries to the world, Guzman said. Our hope is to create an environment for people to openly share, like they have been doing in Europe for decades, but now on U.S. soil. Guzman and Dyke said genetics enthusiasts, big and small, will appreciate the thought, leadership, and assembling for the Vault, including representatives from Abstract Terpenes of Irvine, California, Barney's Farm of Amsterdam, Conception Nurseries in Sacramento, California, Sensi Beans of Amsterdam. A lot of the big grows and businesses have started to understand the importance of the genetics and how to root is truly the center of business, Guzman said. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I buy my genetics from breeders that I've had on the show and breeders I've known now for the last few years, and I look for genetics. I think people need to understand it. Will I get blasted maybe because I read an MJ BizCon and promoted their thing? But if that's the only way you can possibly get seeds, go check it out. If you're going to be out there, if you're going to be there, I think it's kind of cool that you have a lot of breeders
in one place,
right?
Yeah,
to talk about genetics. It's education. So whether you like MJ BizCon and what they do, I like what they're doing for that. I think it's going to be really cool. If you like those breeders or those seed banks, I don't know. That's up to you. That's your personal opinion. But I think there's a couple in there that sound really interesting and it should be kind of fun and quite educational, I think, too, because you can probably ask a lot of questions. So, endometriosis.
The words are hard today.
Yeah,
I had a little giggle.
That bud is really a downer.
Yeah,
it's like
you're struggling.
I can even tell my voice. I'm like ready to go lay down.
So slow.
Ready to go down. Ready to get couch locked.
I smoked more of it, and it made me kind of uppity. So you want some more?
Sure.
Okay.
So you can talk
I'm just
about
gonna pass it over.
You can talk about the most effective way.
All right.
For women with endometriosis.
Yeah, to manage their symptoms.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, a new study on the use of cannabis to treat endometriosis finds that women who consume cannabis rated it as the most effective self-management strategy to reduce symptom intensity of the often painful inflammatory disease. The study, published this month in the journal Gynecological Endocrinology and Reproductive Medicine, analyzed survey responses from 912 adult endometriosis patients in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. Of those, 114 patients reported using cannabis to help manage the condition, a chronic inflammatory disease related to cell growth on the uterus that can cause an array of pain symptoms. Endometriosis affects between 2% and 20% of women of reproductive age, the study says. On average, respondents say it takes them about 9 years to get a diagnosis. Large majorities of cannabis users reported improvements in pain and other symptoms, and although some survey respondents reported increased fatigue related to cannabis use, side effects were otherwise minimal. The greatest improvement was observed in sleep. 91% said that. 90% had an improvement in menstrual pain, and 80% in non-cyclical pain. Results of the German survey showed. Apart from increased fatigue, side effects were infrequent. Additionally, 90% of the participants were able to decrease their pain medication intake. Cannabis use resulted in a significant improvement in symptoms, going beyond just pain management, the report says. Adverse effects were found to be rare. Nevertheless, more research is required to determine the best route of administration, dosage, THC to CBD ratio, potential side effects, and long-term effects of cannabis use. The study indicates that there is a significant interest and demand for additional therapeutic options, it adds. And cannabis can potentially become an important part of a multimodal therapy approach for treating endometriosis. Notably, cannabis users were also more likely to have tried different pain medications in the past. Generally, results indicated that people who used cannabis also experienced more severe pain and perceived pain medication to be less effective. Regarding the side effects of cannabis, some individuals find the occurrence of fatigue pleasant, leading to fewer sleep problems in the evening and at night, the report says. However, for others, this fatigue becomes a significant disadvantage, primarily limiting its use in the morning. The study was conducted by a 4-person research team from the Department of Gynecological with the Center of Oncological Surgery at the Endometriosis
Words
Research Center. Yeah, charity. Yes, in Berlin, Germany. At the time of the study, authors noted, cannabis consumption was still illegal in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, with medical cannabis being rarely prescribed due to complex requirements. Nevertheless, they pointed out that existing therapy options do not always provide significant pain relief, and often cause unpleasant side effects. Findings that cannabis may help manage endometriosis symptoms closely aligns with the results of some past studies. For example, one conducted in Australia that surveyed 484 people. The proportion of use of self-management strategies is similar, authors of the new research noted, but the percentage of cannabis users in our study is slightly higher, at 17% versus 13%. In Canada, where cannabis was legalized nationally in 2018, the team added, prevalent use of 54% was determined among endometriosis patients. It has been shown by various research groups that cannabinoids can have positive effects on patients with endometriosis, the study says. However, to verify these findings, clinical trials with a defined dose, application form, and frequency are required. Again, it is important to focus not only on symptom improvement, but also on side effects. Since most endometriosis patients are young women of childbearing age, it is critical that they thoroughly investigate other possible consequences, such as the development or intensification of psychosis or influences on the embryo in case of pregnancy. Separate research published earlier this year found that CBD appeared to alleviate menstrual-related symptoms such as irritability, anxiety, stress, and other measures when compared to participants' baseline measures. Depression scores, however, did not change. So once again, here we are with another series of research that tells us that we just need more research across the board on cannabis. And the only way that's going to happen is if this plant becomes federally legal. So there's that.
So true.
Yeah.
So true.
I'm really so high. You are too.
I'm stoned.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty high. I could tell because my voice has gotten
We're like, yeah.
very mellow right now. And you had me smoke more, and I wasn't like I wanted to, but I knew.
Did you smoke more?
Of course. You handed it to me. Why wouldn't I?
Right.
So I'm going to hand it back because I want to keep on smoking it. But we won't get through the show. It will be like a 4-hour show because we'll be like,
take a little nap.
Yes. I want to talk about some of the most important people in the whole entire industry, and I do speak a lot about them because I'm around them a lot. But how do you get a job on the front lines? The battle. It's a battle out there when you're on the front lines, being in those trenches, behind those counters, and being on the front lines in the cannabis industry. Do you know who I'm talking about, Ms. Weedman?
The budtenders.
The budtenders.
The best.
I absolutely enjoy talking to budtenders. I absolutely enjoy hanging out with them. They bake me to be or not to be. That's the question. Because I get baked when I hang out with budtenders. Boy, oh boy. But they are the true. I mentioned last week a bunch of the other people in the industry too, but the true warriors, they go through a lot of shit and they smile. They smile. It's amazing. So for anybody that wants to get on the front lines, the most important people, the final destination where all products go to be sold by the budtenders, to be recommended by the budtenders, to be tried, learned, educated. They're it. They are in the trenches 7 days a week. Dispensaries don't close now. They might get Christmas off if they're lucky. All right? They're working. Most dispensaries now are open 365 days a year. Whether it be short hours or not, they're still open. And they're opening longer. Used to close at 8, 9, 10 now. You're seeing dispensaries closing and opening up some are opening up at 7 in the morning now. No joke.
Yeah.
You know, and you budtenders are some of the most important people in the whole entire industry. So if you are looking to get into the front lines, here's some stuff. For many people, simply being surrounded by weed all day is a dream come true. But what if you could get paid for it? If you can't get enough of the learning about different types of strains, CBD or to THC ratios, terpenes, and grow facilities, you may be meant for budtending. Budtenders work at dispensaries speaking with customers about different cannabis accessories and strains. They are experts in their field, are usually certified, and represent the brand of their companies. The cannabis industry is somewhat new, and each state is experiencing its own level of legality. With such variances, some may wonder how to become a budtender, and all of the other questions that go along with new employment. Fairly new. It is.
I'm just giggling at the pace of your reading.
I'm so slow. I'm fucking like...
Come on, Mr. Weedman.
What is a budtender? I'll pick it up during political news. What is a budtender? We all know what a budtender is, but many people are new to the term budtender. So all the newbies that are coming into cannabis, all the new states that are opening up, they might have never heard this before. So they emerged as a result of the cannabis legalization efforts in many states. Budtenders, much like bartenders, work behind the counter at cannabis dispensaries. They help people select products, learn about brands, and find the right accessories for their chosen consumption method. Budtenders aren't cashiers. Stop treating them that way. They are the final expert of that plant and everything about it. They get to taste and try everything, and they get taught by the brand reps coming in and teaching them about their products. And they have a company called Seed Talent that they go on and they learn about different brands, and then they get to sometimes experience plant. And a lot of them are home growers. A lot of them listen to a lot of different podcasts and read a lot of different news, and they're always getting new stuff, and they're getting tested, and they're becoming the expert. Budtenders offer much more than the average retail store worker. Budtenders need to have specialized, highly nuanced knowledge to work in a weed shop. Sometimes people know exactly what they want from cannabis, such as relief from pain, but people who are new to the plant may not know exactly what they want from the product. This is when budtender magic kicks in. Selecting products is not easy as 1-2 tree. We say tree in the South Side. Every person has an individualized endocannabinoid system. The product experience for each consumer may differ. On top of this, cannabis varieties differ between cultivators and the environments, causing varying effects depending on the batch and brand. And don't forget, some stores carry anywhere between 800 to 2,000 SKUs and all different types that they have to try to learn.
It's a lot. It's a lot of information.
Yeah, when I bartended for 23 years, I knew about, like, to the T, how to make about 150 to maybe 200 drinks. To the T. Sometimes I had to look some stuff up. And I didn't have phones back then, but I had a folder. I had cheat sheets. But they have to learn between 800 to 2,000 products.
That's a lot.
Budtenders should be able to comfortably chat about different pipes and accessories, making sure customers can enjoy their weed. After finding the right product, clock what gear is required to light up. Those visiting town may not have a lighter. Also, new patients may need help learning to dab or roll joints. How much do budtenders get paid? Not enough.
Not enough.
Not enough. I've been saying that for how long now? Not enough. Okay? But I blame it on the states taking too much taxes. That could be going back to the dispensaries to pay their employees more. Or start a pension fund in every state for the budtenders. So if they work 20 years, they can retire dealing with all the bullshit they got to deal with. Just my opinion. I don't know if people like them or not, but that's just my opinion. But the average from ZipRecruiter clocked the average U.S. budtender salary at $14.50 per hour.
Oh my God.
That's the average across the country.
That's crazy.
Though most do not believe tipping is required at the dispensaries, but they do get some tips too. So all shared and then distributed, so they can make an extra $100 a week in tips too.
Yeah.
But
I just thought they were closer, like 18 to 20 range.
Some states, yes.
Okay.
Some states is 12 or 10, 11 bucks an hour, depending on the state. Basically, budtenders barely make a living wage. However, since the cannabis laws vary by state, the hourly rate can vary drastically across the U.S. Difference in licensing fees, minimum wage, cost to operate, heavy taxation, and more influence employee pay. If you want to get the most accurate estimate on what budtenders in your location make, look up reports for budtender salaries in your state. Also, budtenders probably get at least a couple $100. Not saying all stores, but some stores less. Anywhere, let's just say $50 to $250 a week in samples. Let's just say that too.
That's nice.
Yes. Plus tips. It might average out. Say the average is $14.50, but if you add all that other stuff in there, it could average to about $18 an hour. with free
It's
products.
keeping stuff in their money in their pocket that they would have spent on those things.
And don't get me wrong, not everybody is giving them the stuff that they want. They're giving them stuff that they want to sell.
Right.
So it depends. The bud tenders be like, oh God, again, the same product. I've had it 20 times.
Right.
You know? So it just depends. But I believe the overtaxation of dispensaries and cultivators is the lack of paying what everybody in the industry deserves, but also would those owners put the money in their pocket or give it to their employees? Mm-hmm. That's the other thing too. So I think nationally, and I've said this multiple times, nationally there should be a full union for cannabis employees and owners too, because owners get fucked by the government, so they need protection also. And I think if we became together as one, from bud tenders all the way up, can make very good livings, and put more money into buying homes instead of living in sharing 3 bedrooms with 5 people.
Yeah,
you know, because they can't afford a good wage to buy a home nowadays. What do you need to become a bud tender? A college degree is not required to become a bud tender, but getting a certificate may open doors. With many people hoping to break into weed, a bud tender certification may help a prospective employee stand out. Certifications provide information about medical cannabis, the endocannabinoid system, nuances of sativa and indica, cultivation basics, and more. This can be an instrument in helping and hopefully a bud tender to get comfortable quickly at a new dispensary job. Bud tenders play an important role in the larger picture of the cannabis industry. They are the first faces people see when they start learning about marijuana. Bud tenders, the bartenders of weed. A bud tender is not just a silly pothead. They are experts in budding industry who often take their work seriously. Many are also highly informed on a topic that is confusing and constantly developing. Without bud tenders, people new to cannabis would and may get lost in the long list of cannabis products. Just go on any one of the dispensary's websites and look at how many products they have. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's overwhelming.
Yes. Those who hope to be part of this valued workforce, just need ingenuity and the willingness to learn. That's it.
That's it.
Bud tenders, I love you. Football. Dun, dun, dun.
It's here. The season is upon us.
Well, the first games of college football was this weekend. I'm actually interested in sports again because of the Olympics. Always does it for me. I love the Olympics. But I'm not saying baseball or regular pros, but college football kind of brought me back a little bit maybe this year to watch some games because I'm interested in the 12-game playoff at the end of the season. It made it interesting again.
Right.
So we'll see. I might watch it again. I may not watch it ever again. I don't really watch sports anymore, but I'm interested. So tell us about consuming cannabis at football games. It's the season.
It's the season. Football season is upon us, and people are heading to the games. Although it's legal, you might want to follow this tip to consume. Between professional and amateur football, over 50 million people will attend in person and possibly even tailgate. The crowds jam in to passionately watch their favorite teams. Michigan Stadium, known as the Big House by University of Michigan students, alumni, and fans, seats over 107,000 people. The energy is amazing, but there's a new attendee in Michigan and other states: legal weed. A long bastion of beer, bourbon, and more, legal cannabis is now available too, but it can be a bit tricky. So here are some tips for consuming at the games. As states roll out fully recreational cannabis and over 50% of the population has access to legal products, people see it as part of their buzz mix. Gen Z and others are drifting from alcohol and are looking at weed. California sober has become a thing, but you want to be thoughtful before you pull out a big blunt. Yeah, you do. In Ohio, it is a misdemeanor to consume in public. And while accepted, the plant's odor can annoy those around you and bring attention to your use. Tailgating is a time-honored game tradition. While most stop off at a bar or restaurant to grab a bite or a pre-drink, others go for the classic tailgates. The parties in the parking lot are as big as they can be. Full bars, barbecues, catered meals. But if you want to consume, you might want to be more discreet and consider a THC or hemp beverage. Most games have some underage attendees, so the smell could be annoying to some parents. The guy drunk on beer can be forgiven publicly more often than the stone guy who smells like a skunk. So consider using a vape, gummy, or oil for the day. Vapes can provide a quick hit, which can take effect quickly, and you can manage your buzz during all 4 quarters. Oils and tinctures are also a quick hit, but they can be a little more difficult to manage the high. But experienced consumers know how to ride the wave. Gummies are a very common option too, with roughly 49% of people who consume trying them out. So you can manage your high as you arrive and throughout the game. So hopefully you can get high and enjoy a big win with your favorite team next time you go to the games.
Edibles are fun.
Yeah.
When you go to games. If you take like an uppity.
But tailgating and having a joint in the parking lot, that's fun
that.
too.
We did that at the Sox game last year.
Yeah.
We made sure we were away from people.
Yeah.
And we smoked in between the cars and stuff. We just, did we?
We
No.
did, and there weren't a lot of people tailgating like right immediately around
Sox.
us. So yeah. You mean the Yankees game?
Yeah, basically that's what we went to, and they fucking packed it up because of the Yankees. So political and state news. Ohio governor has no plans to pardon low-level cannabis crimes. Mike DeWine has no immediate plans to grant mass pardons for Ohioans in low-level cannabis offenses, which can negatively impact employment, housing, and higher education opportunities. Home Depot will stop testing workers for marijuana and limit drug screening for most employees, internal memo shows. Good for you, Home Depot. Woman accused of running 2 illegal marijuana grow houses in Maine. Jimeen Lau, 29, is charged in connection with the grow house in Madison and another in Norridgewock, according to court records. Police say they found around 600 marijuana plants in 2 locations. She faces up to 20 years in prison if she's convicted. Statistics show the federal government has raided more than 40 properties since mid-2023. A leaked federal government memo claimed there was up to 270 large-scale illegal grows in Maine connected to Chinese organized crime. And there are also, this Chinese organized crime, too, are trafficking people from China here and using them as slaves, basically, to manage and maintain and with no food, no water, barely, shitty living conditions. And they're telling people, come over here and it's going to be glorious for you. And it's come over here and they live in complete waste and filth. So New Yorkers' medical cannabis program crumbling under financial pressure and patient exodus. New York's medical marijuana industry is struggling with the number of dispensaries dropping from 40 to 31 since 2021. Patients' registrations have declined from a 2019 peak to 150,000 to just over 108,000. The financial strain is exaggerated by a $20 million license fee to sell recreational cannabis, which many operators can't afford. Industry leaders warn that without state intervention, the sector may collapse. Of course, because just like every state, you fuck up the med program so bad. Make it harder and harder for people to get med because all you want is the higher taxes. You all suck. None of you deserve this. None of you. None of you states, governments deserve this. None of it. It's terrible what you're doing to the medical cannabis folks. Why don't you just give caregivers? Why don't you just make caregiver programs in every state and let us all have 50 patients and let us take care of the med patients? Please, please, please. Just if I had a chance to talk to any governor, make it a point. We can make good livings of this. We'll still pay our taxes. We can run small businesses out of our homes, have 50 clients. We can put money back into the economy. And we can pay $1,000 a year for licensing fees. And we pay 2% taxes on everything we sell. And we give it to the medical patients. We can make edibles. We have everything tested. We do it the right way. It could be done. It could be done. Because every state is fucking up. Unless you're still medical, you're fucking this up so bad. It's just a sham. No, cannabis won't come up in the presidential debates, nor will it decide the election. Cannabis policy is unlikely to be a major topic in the upcoming election, despite its bipartisan popularity. Now popular between both president-elects and both this. They're both flip-flopping, and one is flip-flopping because she threw 1,200 people in jail, and he said he had one of the hardest people, one of his attorney generals who hated weed and was going to ban it in all the states again, and he was for it, he was against it. Now he's going to vote for the Amendment 3, and he's all for it, and the medical program is great, and it could be really great, and it could be really great, and you know they could do a lot with it, but it could be really great, and that's all I heard. It could be really great. from both of them. Who's flip-flopping who? Someone talks about tips. The other one talks about no tips on taxes, no tips on taxes. All they're trying to do is get your vote. Doesn't mean what they're doing, what they're going to say when they get in that house. So, once again, cannabis will not decide an election, will not have any talk in a debate, but they're using it against us as a ploy to get you to vote for them. And they both suck. Just going to say it how it is. You can all sue me for it. None of them have done shit for you in that White House and all the fucking houses over there on the Hill. They all suck. Remember that. I'm fed up with them all. Former President Trump endorses Florida Amendment 3, like I just said. Right? Mm-hmm. Oh, God. I can go on, but I digress. Which legal industry is bigger? Marijuana or sports betting? I'll give you one guess. What do you think? Marijuana for the win. Yay. But here. So who's better in the growing industries? Marijuana was a $30 billion industry in 2023. While the same year, Americans wagered a record, betting people out there, $119.84 billion they wagered.
In what year?
In 2023.
Whoa.
On sports betting, which translated to only $10.2 billion in revenue. So the cannabis industry is currently bigger when it comes to money taking in. But want to bet if it stays the same or changes. But you motherfuckers out there like to gamble on sports betting. $119 billion and we're broke. Now I know why you're all broke. Unless you won a lot of that money.
That's crazy, man.
Sports betting. You're all trying to be millionaires on fucking a 50-50 shot instead of betting on sure things. I had a friend of mine that just hit a 14 parlay, won $6,000. I said, what are you going to do with it? Spend it more on gambling. I'm like, no, you're not. Take $5,000 and put it in a bank and hold it and take $1,000 to use as your betting money for the year. Mm-hmm. That's a great idea. Yeah, why would you give it back? Oh, my gosh. Marijuana rescheduling unlikely to lead to cannabis banking reform. The CRS report notes that even if marijuana moved to Schedule 3 as proposed, banks would still face legal risk under federal law. It's also sent cannabis stocks into a tailspin due to the DA will take proposals into a tailspin. Because they're not waiting now until December 2nd after the election, and then they're probably going to wait to vote on it until next year. So now everything's all up again. They're dangling the carrot. Mm-hmm. You're just going to keep on dangling the carrot. You just keep on being a horse with the carrot in front of you, holding on the string so you keep on walking towards it, never get anywhere. Mm-hmm. And then you got blinders on too. So a horse is even double fucking whacked, just like us all. As Illinois receives praise for its cannabis equity efforts, stakeholders still working on system flaws. Tell me about it. Illinois has allowed medical marijuana patients to purchase cannabis from small businesses, but access to medical dispensaries remains limited. Yeah, of course. Man, you think they're giving up those medical licenses? Only 52 of them. You got to find it if you want it in this fucking state. Just come to visit Mr. Weedman. Since the state legalized recreational cannabis in 2020, dual-purpose dispensaries dominate, while no new medical-only dispensaries have been licensed since 2018. Smaller social equity-focused growers struggle for market access as larger operators control the market. Advocates are pushing for legislative changes to expand medical access to all dispensaries, which would benefit both patients and small businesses, but progress has been slow. They ain't even talking about it. It's not even on their fucking radar anymore. Are you kidding me? We can say all we want. They ain't listening. Mm-hmm. All they see is that $600 million coming in every year right now. That's all they care about. But Illinois distributes, though, $35 million in cannabis revenue grants to revitalize hard-hit communities. So they took a little bit of that $600 million and gave you $35 million of it to shut us up for a minute. But the Illinois Criminal Justice Information Authority, the ICJIA, has issued $35 million in grants to local organizations through the Restore, Reinvest, and Renew program, the 3 Rs, funded by the state's recreational cannabis sales. These grants aim to rejuvenate communities affected by economic neglect and high incarceration rates. Governor J.B. Pritzker highlighted that the program role in promoting equity, having awarded over $244 million in total. The grants target community organizations in disadvantaged areas, focus on empowering smaller nonprofit businesses and faith-based groups to build safer, stronger communities. That's good.
That's good.
But I haven't seen it. Have you?
No.
I haven't seen it. I sell weed. Mm-hmm. I drive through all the neighborhoods. I don't care. There's dispensaries in every neighborhood I go to. I haven't seen it. Mm-hmm. There's more businesses closing right now than opening. Mm-hmm. They should, if you're going to invest in small businesses, save the mom and pop shops in all the neighborhoods. There's so many closed businesses, people have nowhere to go shop. It's terrible. Missouri marijuana regulators issued third product recall in August. 37,000 more marijuana products recalled. It's up. Products recalled in August are up 175,000. Almost triples Missouri's first massive cannabis product recall a year ago.
Wow. That's just one state.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
Measures to legalize medical marijuana in Nebraska can appear on the November ballot. Go Nebraskians! For medical marijuana announced earlier this year that it had gathered 114,000 signatures, well more than the approximately 86,000 needed for each of the two petitions. One would allow marijuana medical use, and the other would regulate the medical marijuana industry in the state. Yay!
Yay.
Go Nebraskians. Vote that up in November. New York nukes 63 million of seized cannabis products from 1,000 shut-down smoke shops. City officials incarcerated more than 4 tons of unregulated cannabis products seized from their Operation Padlock to Protect. They had the mayor, I can't remember his name, but the mayor of New York City.
Ignited it?
Yeah, ignited it. Behind him, they had the 4 tons.
Oh, my
gosh.
gosh.
Just lighting it.
Why?
I mean, just nuking it. $63 million.
Couldn't they have just, like, turned it into, like, paper?
No.
They could have used it somehow.
They burned it. It's illegal.
Repurpose it.
It came from, I figure it out. Let those stores sell it. Bill allowing marijuana sales at farmers market. Clear state legislator heads to Newsom's desk in California. You may be able to buy weed at farmers markets if he's got to sign it.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Effective January, but not till effective January 1st of 2026.
Oh, why?
A year and a half away.
Why?
Who knows?
They got to get all the rules in a row.
Yeah. Medical cannabis users fired from transit job loses appeal over state's denial of unemployment benefits. The Vermont Supreme Court ruled against Ivo Skorek, a former transit worker, fired for testing positive for cannabis despite having a legal prescription. The court did not address whether off-duty medical cannabis use constitutes misconduct. Instead, it focused on procedural issues, upholding the Vermont Department of Labor decision to deny Skorek full unemployment benefits for misconduct. Skorek argued that using medical cannabis off-duty should be considered misconduct, but the court's ruling was based on the technical aspect of his appeal, not the core issue.
Jeez.
Bargain buzz. New York pot farms moves. Okay. I've been giving people an idea about selling half-gram joints for really cheap. Grab-and-go item. This is brilliant. Because I grew up in New York, and a dime bag, and even Grandma 420, talked about buying dime bags when she was young, right? On the corner.
Yep.
So this New York pot farm moves 100,000 economical dime bags under legalization. This is just clutch. This is great marketing, but also not everybody wants to buy an eighth.
Right.
Not everybody wants to buy a gram. They just want something for a small little pinner joint. You know, maybe they don't smoke every day.
Right.
But we just try to shove shit down instead of thinking, that's why we said a half-gram joint. Some people, that's all they need.
That's all they want.
Right. Hudson Cannabis, a 500-acre farm in New York's Hudson Valley, has sold over 100,000 legal dime bags. A dime bag is 0.7 grams. 0.7 grams. At licensed dispensaries across the state. These budget-friendly bags priced around $10. That's what the cost of a dime bag was for me when I was younger. Dime bag was $10 or less. Cater to customers looking for affordable cannabis options. Hudson Cannabis runs by sisters. Think of 2 women just fucking gonna save the world. I always say women are gonna save the world one day. Run by sisters Melanie and Freya Dobson was the first to introduce these old school dime bags.
I love it.
I hope they put them in the old the colored with people with happy face. Oh my god, it'd be fucking so just bring me back, and then sell Philly blunts and just bring me back. Bring it back. Bring it back to reality. Is that a song?
I don't know.
I think it is. I think it's like an 80s
Probably. It's probably a song.
So they introduced old school dime bags nearly 2 years ago, and making cannabis more accessible friendly to like people maybe 60-year-olds, 70-year-olds that used to smoke dime bags getting reintroduced, don't know what to do with an eighth. Maybe they're not ready for an eighth, but they still remember how to roll a joint, get themselves some fucking zigzags, and still know how to roll it up, and they're ready to smoke their pinner. And that's what they used. That's what they liked, or they just want it for one night because they're not going to do it again for another couple of weeks, and then the weed gets stale.
Right.
If you don't know how to keep it right, So here, the farm employs 65 people and also produces other cannabis products like pre-rolled joints and vape cartridges. Good for them.
I love
the
that.
sisters. If you're ever in Chicago, bring me a dime bag and come on the show. I'd love to have you. Or if I'm ever in New York, I'd love to come visit your farm because I think that's fucking amazing. All right. Where'd we go back in February?
Pensacola, Florida? No, we didn't go in February?
February.
I don't know.
Remember, it was a shit show. It was a shit show. And we wound up coming home. We stayed for like 24 hours.
Yes, we went to Kentucky.
Yeah, we went to Louisville, Kentucky. One of my favorite cities in the world. And because there was storms coming, we had to leave early and
ice storms.
So we want to get out. We want to get out. But there was a reason why we went down there. We went down there to check out the scene, to find out and learn information about the medical cannabis market that was about to happen. So you ready?
I'm ready.
Now I heard it's up to 2,800, but when I read I read this on Saturday, more than 1,000 medical marijuana business applications flooded Kentucky.
Wow.
Now I heard it's up to 2,800.
Wow. That doesn't surprise me.
That doesn't surprise me at all. Business applicants must also submit an application free and show that they have enough capital for each proposed license. Each dispensary and processor application must show $150,000 of capital and pay a $5,000 application fee. I can afford that.
Okay.
I can afford that.
Like, we could make that work with some help. Yeah.
Yeah. The tier 1, 2, and 3 cultivator applicants must show $50,000, $200,000, and $500,000. That's a lot of money. Can't afford that. Of capital and pay application fees of $3,000, $10,000, and $20,000, respectively. So it's not that bad.
Yeah.
But it's a lot.
Yeah. It's doable.
It's a lot, though. If each of these 1,076 applicants that I read on Saturday, but now it's up to 2,800 applicants, did pay the application fee, that amount would be more than $6 million for the state, which is total bullshit.
Wow.
But I know what they use. They might use that money to help like implement and pay all the employees they have to hire to start all these and implement all the things they have to do. Still a lot of money that you won't
just
get
the
back.
Application fees brought in $6 million?
You ain't gonna get that back.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
You don't get that money back. I think it's bullshit. I think the money should be returned. So, additional fees of a greater amount would also have to be paid by the applicants to receive a license after the state lottery is conducted in October. So, that's a lot of money, though. A lot of money. Yeah. That's the same thing here in Illinois, too, when they did the lottery here, We've talked about this on the show. It's very controversial, and people have hit me up a couple times going, it's unconstitutional for your gun ownership rights to be taken away if you're a marijuana user. And then people have said, and I said, hey, listen, I'm just reading what I'm reading, what the government's doing and states are doing to people. I know it's unconstitutional.
Yep.
It goes against your Second Amendment right.
Yep.
So, but federal ban on gun ownership by marijuana users is unconstitutional, appeals court says.
Yeah.
Tell us about it, Mrs Weedman.
A federal appeals court panel last week ruled in favor of a Texas woman who judges described as a nonviolent marijuana smoking gun owner, affirming a lower court's ruling that federal charges filed against the woman for owning a firearm as a cannabis user are unconstitutional. Our history and tradition may support some limits on a presently intoxicated person's right to carry a weapon, the court wrote in the new opinion, but they do not support disarming a sober person based solely on past substance usage. Judges also pushed back against claims by the Department of Justice attorneys that cannabis users are inherently more dangerous than other Americans. The Department of Justice argued in this and other recent court cases that the federal law against gun and ammunition possession by someone who uses marijuana is consistent with other historical restrictions on gun ownership, such as by mental defectives. How about that? Mental defectives, really? And others whose possession of firearms is contrary to the public interest. But the Fifth Circuit panel disagreed. We must ask, why was severe mental illness a reason the founders disarmed people? Says the opinion, referring to the statute against gun ownership by people who consume illegal drugs. Repeat marijuana users, like repeat alcohol users, are of sound mind upon regaining sobriety, whereas those determined severely mentally ill often require extensive treatment and follow-up examination before they can be said to be of sound mind again. The case, U.S. versus Connolly, is one of a handful of federal court cases that centers on the federal government's prohibition on gun ownership by users of illegal drugs. And the court's ruling in favor of Paola Connolly, a cannabis consumer who was found in possession of a pistol, was following a domestic conflict in which her husband was wielding a shotgun and may have implications for other pending cases. One of those cases, U.S. versus Daniels, is also currently before the Fifth Court. It, too, hinges on the constitutionality of the law against gun ownership by marijuana users. In a brief filed late last month in that case, the DOJ pointed to a recent Supreme Court decision, U.S. versus Rahimi, allowing the government to limit Second Amendment rights of people with domestic violence restraining orders, arguing that decision reinforced the constitutionality of restricting firearms for cannabis consumers, whom government lawyers called presumptively risky people. Okay, so if you use cannabis, you're kind of like a dude who beats the shit out of his spouse. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's real similar. Okay. But in last week's opinion on Connolly, the Fifth Circuit panel rejected the comparison. Well, that's good. Deciding whether a conceptual fit exists between the old law and the new requires the exercise of both analogical reasoning and sound judgment, judges wrote. We hold the government to its heavy burden, as the Second Amendment is not a second-class right. Marijuana user or not, said the court, Paola is a member of our political community and thus has a presumptive right to bear arms. By infringing on that right, it contradicts the Second Amendment's plain text. Laws designed to disarm the severely mentally ill do not justify depriving those of sound mind of their Second Amendment rights, the court wrote. The analogy stands only if someone is so intoxicated and is said to be in a state comparable to lunacy. Just as there is no historical justification for disarming citizens of sound mind, there is no historical justification for disarming a sober citizen, not presently under an impairing influence. The ruling contends instead that alcohol is the closest comparator and historical analog available. No federal limits are there against Second Amendment rights for people who drink alcohol. Perhaps the government could succeed if it were able to demonstrate that the drugs Paola used were so powerful that they rendered her permanently impaired in a way comparable to severe mental illness, the opinion concludes. It also might succeed if it were able to demonstrate that Paola's drug use was so regular and heavy that it rendered her continually impaired, but it shows evidence of neither here. The DOJ has made similar arguments in a separate case in the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 11th Circuit. In that matter, a group of Florida medical cannabis patients contends that their Second Amendment rights are being violated because they cannot lawfully buy firearms so long as they are using cannabis as medicine, despite acting in compliance with state law. The Biden administration, meanwhile, argues that medical marijuana patients who possess firearms endanger public safety, and they pose a greater risk of suicide, and they are more likely to commit crimes and to fund their drug habits.
Can I say something?
Bullshit. He changed his mind on all that.
I'm a medical marijuana patient, and this whole entire paragraph that Mrs. Weedman just read about the Biden administration is totally fucking full of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm a medical marijuana patient. I've never taken my firearm out.
No.
I've never endangered public safety with a firearm.
Right. It's ridiculous. It's just goofy.
I'm going to fund my weed habit by robbing people with my guns.
Yes.
I'm going to commit crimes because I can just grow my own
Because you're
weed.
a drug addict.
Yes, I'm a drug addict. So the Biden administration, meanwhile, argues that medical marijuana patients who possess firearms endanger public safety. Mm-hmm. Have I ever endangered public safety?
No. Have I?
You're not a medical marijuana patient, though.
Oh, but I'm a cannabis consumer.
You
yeah,
are.
I know. Yeah.
So I'm a card holder. You're my caregiver. But
Right.
you can get a card, too. But you just haven't because you're my caregiver, so it doesn't matter. But I'm saying, have you or I ever said, I'm going to go upstairs and get my gun?
Yeah, and be dumb.
I'm going to go run around, shoot people downtown, and rob them to fund my drug habit.
I thought about it. I'm just joking. No, it's not even a thing. So the Justice Department has claimed in multiple federal cases over the past several years that the statute banning cannabis consumers from owning or possessing guns is constitutional because it's consistent with the nation's history of disarming dangerous individuals. Okay. Cannabis consumers with guns pose a unique danger to society, the Biden administration claimed, in part because they're unlikely to store their weapon properly. Okay. Some states have passed their own laws, either further restricting or attempting to preserve gun rights as they relate to marijuana. Recently, for example, a Pennsylvania lawmaker introduced a bill meant to remove state barriers to medical marijuana patients carrying firearms. Colorado activists also attempted to qualify an initiative for November's ballot that would have protected the Second Amendment rights of marijuana consumers in that state. But earlier this month, the campaign said its signature gathering drive fell short. The U.S. District Court for the Western District of Oklahoma ruled last year that the ban prohibiting people who use marijuana from possessing firearms is unconstitutional, with the judge stating that the federal government's justification for upholding the law is concerning. In U.S. District Court for the Western District of Texas, a judge ruled last April that banning people who use marijuana from possessing firearms is unconstitutional, and it said the same legal principle also applies to the sale and transfer of guns. Last August, meanwhile, ATF sent a letter to Arkansas officials saying that the state's recently enacted law permitting medical cannabis patients to obtain concealed carry gun licenses creates an unacceptable risk and could jeopardize the state's federally approved alternative firearm licensing policy. And on and on and on. From Minnesota to Colorado, from Michigan to Hawaii, from the ATF to local governments, there are differing opinions and laws, and the controversy continues.
It was in that article, too. It had the whole entire bill in there, too. Didn't
Yeah.
it? It had...
Yeah, we'll definitely post the link for this because you can actually read the case.
The Fifth Circuit Court opinion was on this, and I'd like to thank Marijuana Moment, phenomenal journalist there, Ben Alden, Adlin, who we've read plenty of articles from him, and I've learned so much from Marijuana Moment in my years of reading their journalism is just phenomenal. I don't know if I think I've given them credit before, but this was they busted this open. So Marijuana Moment launched this whole thing. When they found out about the federal ban on the circuit, Fifth Circuit.
Good.
Yeah,
that's good.
So they're just really good at what they do. International news: PTSD patients could be left behind as Ukraine's medical marijuana law takes effect, and more cannabis updates worldwide. Brazilian mothers led fight to secure access to medical cannabis. Janaíne Silva's 4-year-old son, Murillo, suffers from severe epilepsy with frequent prolonged seizures after traditional medications failed. Cannabis, specifically CBD oil, significantly reduced his seizure duration. A bottle costs $180, but a new Sao Paulo law provides it for free. All right. Passed in late 2022, this law makes CBD accessible through the public healthcare system for certain rare conditions. A first in Brazil. Despite federal inactions, this state-level success is largely due to determined mothers advocating for their children's health. In 2023, over 430,000 Brazilians received cannabis treatment. Cold to cannabis. South Africa's green job boost. South Africa could offset coal job losses in Mpumalanga by investing in citrus and marijuana plantations for hemp production, which is way better for the environment than coal. So grow that green, not the black. That smells so good.
Want some?
No, I'm good right now. Along with aviation fuel from sugarcane and boosting tourism, according to the study by the Presidential Climate Commission, as the region shifts away from coal, up to 24,000 jobs may be lost by 2030, but new industries could create up to 95,000 jobs. So that's great. Full cannabis legalization not yet off the table in the Czech Republic. Some lawmakers want only home grow. Okay. I'll home grow for people. Mm-hmm. The governing coalition supports cannabis growing, but it's against establishing a regulated cannabis program. Home grow for everybody. Fuck it. Just let people just grow it and give it away. Great. Right? Mm-hmm. Free the plant. That's what I've always said, right? Free the fucking plant. A bill that includes a full commercial market remains unchanged and is still sitting outside the government's office. Former National Drug Coordinator Jindish Vorbril continues to push for the reform. Yeah. Free the plant. Check. Be the first country to just free it. Free the plant. It ain't hurting anybody. As another cannabis retailer tries to save itself, is the industry going up in smoke. Tokyo Smoke shutters 29 stores and seeks credit protection in the largest cannabis shakeup. Tokyo Smoke, a prominent Canadian cannabis retailer, is closing 29 stores and seeking creditor protection due to industry challenges. Despite being a key player, you know why they can seek creditor protection? Because it's federally legal in Canada. Key player since pot legalization in 2018. Tokyo Smoke faces high cost, intense competition for persistent black market and saturated retail environment. Canada's cannabis market has seen oversupply and plummeting prices, with recent data showing slower sales growth. The industry is expected to stabilize with potential future growth, especially if the U.S. legalization leads to more major brands entering the market. 2 million Brits are self-medicating with cannabis. 2 million. The market soars 10% monthly, while National Health Services prescriptions catch up. The UK's medical cannabis market is growing rapidly with an estimated 10% monthly increase. However, access remains limited due to stringent NHS prescription requirements, which are restricted to specific conditions and licensed products. Since legalization in 2018, only around 50,000 patients have received NHS prescriptions, while many others rely on illicit sources. Market expansion could see patient numbers rise to 300,000 by 2028. So the NHS requires more research to broaden access to cannabis-based medicines. Changes in Antigua and Barbados law to impose fines for public cannabis use. In 2018, the Misuse of Drug Act was amended to decriminalize the possession of up to 15 grams of marijuana in Antigua and Barbados. Now, the country's government is seeking to again impose stricter rules around the plant, as earlier policy changes confused the public's use of cannabis. Well, I ain't going there then, because we were talking about going on a 30-year anniversary trip, and I ain't going somewhere where weed's not legal, and I can't get cannabis.
That's right.
Bullshit. To address this, a 3-step process was initially prescribed, warning for the first-time offenders, ticket for subsequent violations, and fines for repeat offenders. Information Minister Melford Nicholas said the decision the cabinet took yesterday is to remove layers 1 and 2, and we will go straight to fines. The sovereign country, consisting of 2 islands, allowed Rastafarians to legally use marijuana for ritual purposes last year, becoming one of the first Caribbean nations to do so. Cannabis reform in the Bahamas. Meanwhile, the Rastafarian community in the Bahamas could see cannabis reform progressing. That's according to the Minister of Agriculture and Marine Resources, Jomo Campbell, who said last week the officials' Office of the Attorney General will address concerns around the cannabis legalization, particularly around those from the Rastafarian community. A Rastafarian leader mentioned potential legal action in recent fundraising efforts for legal counsel. Campbell highlighted the importance of addressing concerns raised during parliamentary debates before fully implementing the cannabis industry, reported the Tribune. Last month, the country's Prime Minister, Philip David, said he supports a collection of bills to legalize medical and religious use of cannabis, as well as a push to decriminalize small amounts of marijuana. Allowing THC edibles in Harm Reduction Association does not violate EU rules. Cannabis lobby group Relief Malta argues that permitting THC edibles to be sold at harm reduction associations would not be against European Union legalization, as THC is a controlled substance under international drug policy, reported Malta today. It is unfortunate that cannabis consumption is banned with association. It is also disproportionate in banned consumption of cannabis while tobacco use is permitted. The NGO responded to the comments from the Authority of Responsible Use of Cannabis head Joey Reno Vela, who said sales of THC edibles would break food rules. What food? What food rules? I gave you this article that I really knew you would like it.
Yeah,
And,
I did. I do like it.
You have an underlying. You are a hippie, and you have that hippie vibe. You also very strong, but also have.
I'm just a walking conundrum. It's okay. I got my yin, I got my yang.
You do. Everybody does, right?
So my ebb and flow of life is
Right.
that I'm very city and I'm very hippie.
Yes, you're the new
I'm
age
like,
hippie.
Yeah.
So there's 12 towns in the U.S. to live the free spirit vibe. Oh yeah, I'll take some more of Scott's weed, thank you.
Live a life of peace, love, good vibes right here in America. It's no secret that the hippie movement of the 1960s and 70s was a significant cultural turning point in the U.S. history. While the era may have come and gone, its influence is still felt today through music, fashion, and most importantly, lifestyle. Although I'm not ready to give up all my earthly goods yet, I don't mind having a bonfire at spiritual vortexes with a crew of van lifers once in a while. After road tripping through 40 states, here are 12 hippie towns in the U.S. that captured the culture's free-spirited essence. 1. Mount Shasta, California. Take me there. It is 14,179 feet. It is a dormant volcano that New Age believers consider one of the most sacred places on Earth. It's a spiritual headquarters for anyone seeking cosmic vibes surrounded by Cascade Range beauty. The locals swear they've seen UFOs and claim the mountain has healing powers. Not too far away, many of the surrounding hot springs are undeveloped and often clothing optional. Woohoo! Number 2. Humboldt County, California, famous for its towering redwoods and infamous for its cannabis culture that's been thriving since way before legalization. The community is fantastic with frequent festivals celebrating the earth, like the Mushroom Fair, the Hemp Festival, and the North County Fair. If Humboldt County isn't on your hippie radar yet, it's time to get with the program. The towns like Arcata and Eureka are filled with quirky shops, organic cafes, and people who have mastered the art of not taking life too seriously. The coastline is rugged and beautiful, perfect for those who like their beach trips a little on the wild side. 3. Eugene, Oregon. Many towns in Oregon west of the Cascade Mountains are hippie towns. Eugene is like Portland's chill hippie cousin who's always down for a good time. Can we live there? This town is great for those who love organic food, tie-dye, and living sustainably. The Saturday market offers everything from handmade crafts to locally grown produce. Eugene is also bike-friendly, so ditch your car and pedal your way through the scenic routes. This university town is a haven for hippies, artists, and anyone with a penchant for organic food and a good protest. Let's not forget the epic hippie celebration, the Oregon County Fair, which takes place every July in nearby Veneta. Inventive costumes and eccentric performances take place for 3 full days.
I applied for a job in Eugene, remember?
Yeah.
2 years ago?
Yeah.
I would have moved there in a second. I love Oregon. Oh, my God.
4. San Juan Islands, Washington, are the Pacific Northwest's best-kept secret, where you can live off-grid but still be part of a community. These islands are all about sustainable living with plenty of organic farms and eco-friendly practices. You'll find artists, writers, and musicians who want to escape the rat race and live a life of pure, unadulterated chill.
Oh, I love that.
The community here is tight-knit and full of creative souls. Orcas Island is one place with an old hippie commune where many still go. 5. The Farm, Summertown, Tennessee, originally started as a commune, but is now an intentional community focused on sustainability, spirituality, and social activism. The residents there grow their own food, generate their own power, and live by a set of shared values that emphasize peace and cooperation. Workshops on everything from organic farming to midwifery are part of everyday life. The vibe is welcoming, and you'll quickly be part of the family, whether you're there for a weekend or a lifetime. The farm is also rich in history. Oh, hold on. Cottonmouth here. A rich history of activism, with members having participated in significant social movements over the years. 6. Ithaca, New York, is where academia meets bohemia. Home to Cornell University, the town is a melting pot of intellectuals, artists, and free spirits. The city has one of the largest hippie populations in New York State. The Ithaca Farmers Market is legendary, with everything from organic produce to handmade crafts. The gorges and waterfalls provide a stunning backdrop for outdoor activities like hiking and swimming. Their progressive values are evident everywhere, from cooperative businesses to eco-friendly initiatives. It hosts numerous communes, head shops, natural grocery stores, and drum circles. 7. Bisbee, Arizona. Was once a booming mining town, but after its decline, it became a haven for artists and counterculture types. The historic district has colorful Victorian homes, galleries, and eclectic shops. Bisbee also has a thriving LGBTQ plus community and hosts an annual Pride celebration that draws visitors from across Arizona. 8. Asheville, North Carolina.
Everybody tells me I would love it there.
It's easily one of the friendliest spots on the East Coast. Great bites, a vibrant experimental music scene, a generally warm vibe. It all makes this town a must-visit from nomadic free spirits. Asheville's location in the Blue Ridge Mountains means there are plenty of outdoor activities, and it's a hub for eco-friendly practices. 9. Slab City, California. It is like the Wild West of hippie towns. There are very few rules and no utilities unless you bring it yourself. This off-grid community is built on an abandoned military base and attracts a colorful mix of artists, nomads, and free spirits. Salvation Mountain, a brightly painted art installation is the town's most famous landmark, and there are other installations for casual passerbys to check out. The living conditions can be rough, as most residents live in everything from RVs to grand makeshift shacks. And being so free, it also entices some unsavory types. 10. Many places in Alaska. All of Alaska is a great place to be. The wilderness is vast and spectacular, and it's easy to find your own little corner to claim as your own. Throughout the summer, there are bluegrass festivals. There are shows and countless trips to enjoy. You can easily hitchhike without any trouble getting a ride. Some of the best places to go are Delta Junction, Matanuska Valley, and Homer. On the Kenai Peninsula, many communities of individuals live life on their own terms. 11. Taos, New Mexico, and it is known for its adobe buildings and Native American heritage. Nearby Taos Pueblo is even a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Art galleries and studios are plentiful, and the town's spiritual retreats and workshops attract people from all over the world. There are a few communes just outside of town. Although somewhat touristy, it hasn't been overly influenced by the mainstream society yet. 12. Haight-Ashbury, San Francisco, California. Haight-Ashbury in San Francisco is where it all began. This neighborhood was the epicenter of 1960s counterculture movement and is still full of hippie vibes today. You'll find plenty of head shops with psychedelic storefronts, vintage clothing stores, and quirky cafes. While many hippies have been priced out over the decades, there's no denying that Haight-Ashbury is an important place for free spirits to visit. So
what place you want to go visit first?
I think Oregon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
And then
Number one on the list.
yeah,
Asheville.
and then I think Asheville.
would be number 2.
Yeah,
I'd like to check out that place in Tennessee too.
yeah, that sounds neat.
Yeah. So this is great because I know my dad had a record of this band, and I knew when I saw this band. His name, I'm like, I remember my dad having an album from them back in the 70s when he had his collection. It was amazing. And I mean, I still remember I wish I had all those records. I think my brother probably still had them too, or they're gone now. Terrible, because he had some good records. But Gong, Gong.
Was it a big gold gong, the whole album cover?
I don't remember.
With like a pink background?
I gotta look them up.
Or a red
I gotta
background?
look up the albums, but I just remember seeing the word Gong, Gong, and I'm super excited because they're coming into town, which made this article even more special. They're coming into town and they're playing at Reggie's Rock Room. Hold on a second here. Oh, no,
They're a psychedelic rock band that incorporates
I'm gonna read
jazz
about it.
and space rock.
But they're coming to Reggie's
cool.
Rock Room Tuesday, October 1st. And we're going to go see him, I think.
Yeah.
We'll skip it. We'll record on a different day. But we should all get, every stoner, burner, and pothead, if you're listening,
Yeah.
Gong
Gong.
is a band you should listen to.
Oh, they were groovy.
If you smoke your first joint of the day, or if your first joint ever, or you drop some acid at school. The mind-bending story of cult psychedelic heroes, Gong. Gong, a cult psychedelic rock band founded in the late 1960s by David Allen, is celebrated for its unique blend of space rock and eccentricity. Despite numerous lineup changes and a philosophy deeply rooted in various spiritual and Eastern traditions, Gong has maintained its influence through its ever-evolving music and ideas. Allen, who envisioned Gong during an acid trip, I love it, emphasized that the band's music embodies a broader ideal rather than just entertainment. While Gong's popularity waned at times, its legacy endures through its influence on later musicians and its embrace on modern technology for reaching fans worldwide. So, I'm going to see Gong with Mrs. Weedman at Reggie's Rock Room on October 1st. And we're going to be gong when we walk in that door to go see them. So come hang out with Mr. and Mrs. Weedman on October 1st. We're gonna post it. We'll make sure we're going to be there. We're going to talk about it. So we'll let you know when we get tickets and stuff. So if you want to come burn some big fat doinks with Mr. and Mrs. Weedman, gong. It's where we'll be at on October 1st. We have to see it because I was getting the episode ready last night, right? And this morning when I woke up, I got an email from Spotify, and it said, new message, concerts that you might like in your area. Okay. Do you ever get those from Spotify?
Yeah. Suggestions.
So Gong and Sturgill Simpson came up because I played Gong last night. To listen to him again while I was getting the I don't have the lighter.
The joint.
Oh, I do have the joint. And I listened to a Sturgill Simpson song like a week ago. So
funny.
And then it came up upcoming dates. So Gong is Tuesday, October 1st at Reggie's Rock Club in Chicago. And if you're interested in Sturgill Simpson, he's playing at the Salt Shed on Tuesday, October 1st. So I can't go see him.
Same day?
Same day.
Come on.
Same day.
Are they in a battle?
I'm going to see Gong.
Gong. Gong. Gong.
So, if anybody knows Gong, and you can get me an introduction.
That's G-O-N-G.
Yes, Gong.
Gong.
If you can get me a handshake or let me smoke some doinks with them,
my God.
It'd be great. And get a couple of pictures with Gong.
Gong.
Oh, shit. So, October 1st, everybody. Ms. Weedman.
Mr. Weedman.
You got anything else to say? That's the end of the show.
Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Happy September. It's not October yet. Don't go falling into the trap that is Halloween shopping. It's too soon. You could buy some candy. Eat it, buy it again. Buy it again. Just don't buy don't buy it. Don't buy it yet. Just don't do it. I'm so freaking baked.
I like to thank Scott, our friend
Thanks, Scott.
Yeah, that we always see at Brunch of Stoners for this wonderful weed. I'm very high tonight.
Whew.
Hey, everybody out there in the world, we love you. Thanks for listening to the show. We really appreciate y'all and just having some fun. That's what we're trying to do. We ain't here to cause no trouble.
We're just here
to do the Super Bowl shuffle.
Yeah.
Bear season starting up. Everybody looking good here in Chicago. People are excited for once about an Illinois sports team.
Yeah.
So we love you all out there. As Paulie always says, smoke smart. Puff, puff, and away.
Puff, puff, puff.
Check out our cannabis lifestyle brand online at 8decades.com. Our custom smokes and accessories are perfect for your coffee table, bedroom nightstand, or kitchen counter. They're designed for you to show them off. The Canna community is also loving our hemp and cotton blend t-shirts, sweatshirts, scarves, and hats, finished off with our 8 Decades logo. We've got some awesome long-lasting goods that will be your favorite for years to come. 8 Decades, because a 9th decade of cannabis prohibition isn't acceptable.